this program is focused on the teaching, learning, and research in order to promote interdisciplinary initiatives on the use of internationally comparative data for evidence-based and innovative change in educational systems, school, and classroom level education. These international short-term programs aims to a platform for the experts, their existing research resources and approaches, as creating linkages between the academic research and network members work on the ground. Thus, this allow connection to large network of leaders and professors around the world. So we're very thankful with the Cape Comorin Trust of India for allowing us to be part of this momentous activity. So this time, before we will start, we have having a short inaugural presentation. So with a short invocation, we call Dr. Abdullah Muhammad to give a invocation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma rabbana taqabbal minna salatana wa siyamana wa ruku'ana wa sujudana wa tabarru'ana wa takhassu'ana wa ta'abbudana wa tammin taksirana ya Allah ya rabbal alamin. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah Muhammad, for a short introduction. Now let's have, we will be calling our Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs of Mindanao State University, Sulu, and the officer in charge of our campus today. So may we call Dr. Rafael Reheliana to give a short and opening remarks.
My courtesy and respect to the President of Cape Comorin Trust in India, Dr. R.S. Regine Silves, Dr. Shelja Basudeva, Associate Professor, Department of Political Science, Cape Comorin International Coordinator, Dr. Shubra Jamwal, Assistant Professor, Government College of Education, UT of Jammu and Kashmir in India, Cape Comorin International Coordinator. I would like also to pay my courtesy and respect to our Chancellor, the Chancellor of the Mindanao State University, Sulu, Philippines, Dr. Nagdar J. Abdurrahman. Of course, to our Director for Internationalization, Mindanao State University, Sulu, Philippines, Dr. Magna Anisa A. Hayudini. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to all. Indeed, we are happy to have this partnership with Cape Comorin Trust in India with the end in view of providing education and service among people all around the globe. This manifests our commitment to offer academic excellence through innovative teaching, research, and learning. And this is for this reason that these two institutions, the Mindanao State University Sulu in the Philippines and Cape Comorin Trust in India, came up with this short-term program on teaching, learning, and research in order to promote interdisciplinary initiatives on the use of internationally comparative data for evidence-based and innovative change in the educational system. This program also aims to provide connection to a large network of leaders and professionals around the world. It also provides a platform for the experts to share existing research, resources, and approaches. We are hoping that our lecturers, experts in their fields of specializations, will be able to share their knowledge and skills. May this forum serves as an avenue of sharing expertise, learning new teaching techniques, and hone our capabilities in research. Thank you very much and good day to all.
Thank you, Dr. Rafael Reheliana, our Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, and at the same time, the officer in charge of Mindanao State University, Sulu. This time, may I introduce the international moderator of our campus to moderate or to facilitate this afternoon activity. May I call Dr. Abdullah I. Muhammad. He is an Associate Professor 5 and a faculty of the Graduate School and a faculty at the same time of College of Arts and Science. And he is also currently the coordinator for peace education in our campus. And he is also a researcher. Now, please, may I welcome Dr. Abdullah Muhammad. Doc?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's already 2:46 in the afternoon, Philippine Standard Time. With me here in Mindanao State University, Sulu, we have the Director of the Internationalization, Dr. Magna Anisa Hayudini, of course, the Dean of the Graduate School of Mindanao State University, Sulu, and other faculty and presenters for this afternoon forum. This time, I would like to call our first presenter. He is Associate Professor 5 and Director of Mindanao State University, Sulu Senior High School Department, Hello, Sulu, Philippines. He will be presenting to us his topic about school supervision and administration. Brothers and sisters who are in attendance, our first presenter is Dr. Norman A. Abdurrahman.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسول الله الكريم أبعد Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon to everyone in attendance. First, allow us to express our gratitude to the lead convener for this short-term program between India and the country, Philippines particularly, and Mindanao State University, Sulu, and those who were in attendance this afternoon. First and foremost, I am going to share with you on the topic school administration and supervision, principles and university experience. I am expecting that after the presentation, any one of us could actually share and partake, of course, share and the good practice in their own campus. First, I have the three capsules objectives of decisions. First is to familiarize some important concepts of school administration and supervision. Second, to determine the relationship and differences of school administration and supervision. Usually, we misconstrued that administration is actually but synonymous with supervision. Third is to shed light on the general principles of school administration and supervision and how they are applied in the university setting. To answer the first objective, let us actually start with the concept of school administration and supervision taken from the different perspective. On the first hand, the word administration connotes the machinery of the organization in its function. This is actually referring to the general plan of a certain organization and how these plans actually implemented and evaluated in a certain organization. If you're going to look at the context of the definition, it's actually about focusing on the machinery. It would mean administration, for short, is actually focusing on the process. Looking back into Deming's principle, everyone, stakeholders and school leaders alike, is or are actually encouraged to have a continuous improvement along the process, because the university visions are actually but dependent on how are we going to undergo and innovate the process. Second, it is the process of organizing the 8 aims of management. What are these 8 aims? First is demand, the money, the machine, the materials, of course, the market, the methods, the moment, and the media. Let us take first the most important factor and the process. For example, this is considered to be, of course, the human resource, and we do believe that in the organizational context, it is the human resource is the prime determinant for the success of the organization. Along the line, again, in the context of the school setting, the life and death is actually dependent on the performance of the human resource. In other words, the achievement of the enterprise objectives, such as the university, like Mindanao State University Sulu, is actually dependent on its human resource. The other aim of management is actually but the money. We are actually referring to the funds of the organization. It is deeply believed, and if we are going to revisit the theory, it is believed that money is actually but the maintenance factor in the 2-factor theory of Frederick Herbert so far. However, in some research, this actually viewed as motivating factor. In other words, salary is an important factor that keep the people moving, that actually motivates individual to work in order to achieve the enterprise objectives or the visions of the university when we are actually speaking about the university vision. So third one is the machine. Machine, we are referring to the technology. If you are going to view, for example, the university or the school as a social system, it has, of course, the compliance with the external environment. And technology is actually playing a very important role, and has, of course, the compliance or the influence over a university operation. In other words, machine technology is very important as in achieving the university goals and mission. Materials, we are referring, of course, to references and other print and some other materials actually used in the university. This is also playing a very important in the achievement of the university vision. Like Mindanao State University Sulu, markets are actually prime consideration, the offering of courses. First, market is a very important consideration because there is really a need for us to analyze what are the demands and what are the needs in the markets before we can actually offer some courses to actually responsive to the needs of the people. In some cases, another aims of management is actually the method. Method, we are referring to the strategies for implementations, the techniques, and experiment for faculty members, discovering other methods in conformity with the changes in the landscape of education, the educational playing field. The moment we are referring to the time element is also an important consideration, and as well as the media, the communication process. Next, administration likewise is concerned with the execution of policy. In a broad term, we are not only managing the 8 M's of management, but administration is deeply concerned with the policy execution. We do believe that the effectiveness of the policy is actually dependent on how it is being implemented in the school setting. Next is administration so far is charged with responsibility for the attainment of organizational aims and objectives. We all know that different departments are, of course, directed towards the central objectives of the organization based or cascading from the university vision. From the standpoint of the administration, we can now say that school administration refers to the school system in how it is being managed, including its university function. Basically, function revolves around PODC, planning, directing, and organizing and controlling. Then, likewise, school administration as an agency that provides conditions favorable to good teaching and effective learning. The central point here is actually but providing an organizational climate. The administration is so far concerned of providing organizational climate which is so far favorable for good teaching and effective learning. This is actually the central goal of why university exists. On the other hand, supervision is actually ordinarily implies the improvement of the total learning situation and the conditions that affect them. In other words, it is the task of the supervisors to oversee. Overseeing is actually the main concern and the main focus of supervisory activity. Seeing the conditions of the classroom, the conditions of the school, with the central objective, of course, improving the classroom conditions, which is quiet, very inspiring, and very challenging, of course, to learn. It is also the concern of the supervision to bring out the improvement of instructions by working with people who are working with the pupils or students. In other words, there is a need for a supervisor to collaborate with faculty members, to collaborate with the staff, because they were the ones who were actually directly working with our pupils and our students in the educational playing field. So let us now proceed to the relationship of high school administration supervision. It is actually evolved with the questions how administration and supervision are actually related. Basically, in development context so far, basic and higher education, administration and supervision supplement in complement with each other. Between both administration and supervision are actually playing a very complementary role. Supplementary and complementary role. It seems that one cannot actually function effectively without the presence of the other one. For example, administration in some cases is actually playing supervisory functions. the deans of the different departments are somehow trying to evaluate the classroom conditions, the performance of faculty members, and the university campus. And these functions is actually inherent in its university function, as must emanate from its university function. Therefore, as administrators, the he or he is also performing university function. On the other side of the coin, supervisors in some cases take responsibility of performing some administrative function. This being the case, we can say that one cannot actually exist without the presence of the other one in the Philippine context of educational system. Moreover, Educational Act of 1974 failed to draw a demarcation line between school administration and supervision. In other words, there are no clear-cut boundary that actually defines what is administration and what is supervision. There are no clear-cut policy defining a separation. In other words, the rule of administration and supervision intertwined, as is of course being demanded. When there are relationships, for example, school administration and supervision, of course, there are also differences between the terms. First and foremost, if we are going to look at in a broader context, administration is actually about referring to or represent the whole educational system. While school supervision takes a very portion of it. In other words, taking MSU Sulu as primo preference, school administration focuses only on the entire school system, while supervision is only focusing on the issues of teaching learning process. In other words, it only takes some portion of administrative responsibility, in which supervision is actually one. In other words, administration precedes supervision, and supervision is but a subordinate to administration. That's how are we going to take the relationship and differences so far of school administration and supervision. Proceeding to the very important part, of our sharing this afternoon, I have only taken some sort of general principles of administration. I do believe that these principles are actually applied in universally in the different universities all over the world, not to except, of course, our university and the country or in the Philippines, particularly our university, Mindanao State University, Sulu. First is school administration, of course, must be democratic in nature. Modern administrators demand, and modern organizations demand for a democratic school administration and supervision. Today, in today's world, autocratic administration and supervision is actually discouraged. Because we do believe with the application, for example, of democratic principle, it gives leeway for everyone, every member of the organization. For example, from the staff and to the faculty members to participate in the planning process, particularly in the decision making. It is likewise encouraged that every faculty member and every staff of an organization is obliged to participate in the different level of decision-making planning. For example, in the classroom level. Second, in the department level. In the campus level. It would mean by applying the principle of democracy, we're actually highlighting and giving value to, of course, the potential of our men, of our faculty members, and the art of decision making and the art of planning. So by autocratic principle, we're actually neglecting. Because in a democratic society, everyone's actually entitled to his own opinion. And there are points that leaders do not know, while faculty members and other subordinates know. And there are points, and there are cases sometimes that school leaders cannot do, while faculty members and subordinates can do. That's why in a democratic setting, there exists, for example, a recognition of individual differences, respect for personality, and extend personal consideration at that. In other words, we are going to employ particular member our faculty force, our staff, not on the basis only of one's skills, but on the totality of human person. That's why we need to extend and to recognize individual differences, particularly in dealing with some issues and concerns of our faculty members, our staff, and of course, our subordinates. So we have to go beyond and extend some sort of personal considerations and matters pertaining to our subordinates. So it's really quite very challenging to deal with different personalities, because different personalities actually require different approach, as of course opined by Pete Fiddlers and Ken Blancard, if you remember it right, and their contingency approach to leadership. Third one is by applying this principle, it actually gives individual freedom for development. It is the task of the administrator to encourage faculty member to go on personal advancement. According to John Maxwell, that there is a need for us to so far multiply ourselves. We need to create not only more followers, but we need to create more leaders. That's why it is impediments. It is not impediment. If our faculty members are growing academically, it is also not impediment for our effectiveness. So if our faculty members are advancing through trainings and in other development per se. So those are why democratic principles actually highly encouraged and in university setting. Second, school administration and supervision must be cooperative. Of course, this is common sense. It takes two to tango, as the old adage goes. So far, cooperation means the participation of every one of us, every member so far of the academe, from the staff to the faculty members to the deans. I know that they also partake their share of contribution to the development and achievement of the university vision. Cooperation is highly encouraged. Then by cooperation, it also promotes understanding, promotes individual initiative, promote self-reliance, individual responsibility, and thus provide opportunity for growth and development among members. In other words, it is very quite impossible for us to achieve the university goal if we are doing it alone. It's really quite impossible because we are actually neglecting the potential of our men. I do not know if anyone or everyone in this forum will do agree with us. So it's really quite hard to drive the nobility of the existence of the university like MSU Sulu if we are actually assuming that we know it alone and we can do it alone. So that's actually the essence of the principles of cooperation. Third one is school administration and supervision must be, of course, scientific in nature. Decision must be based on facts and data, not only based on our own opinions. Data don't actually lie. Data don't lie. Scientific process is actually highly regarded and analyzing some issues and concerns, particularly affecting university operation. Second, research must come into play, particularly in the art of making policy. The challenge and the education system in the country today is most educational decisions are not actually based from research. It's not actually research based. That's why we keep on developing over and over again, improving, for example, our own curriculum, yet there is no significant improvement and impact to economic condition in the country today because most of our decisions are not research based. So most likely, decisions based on scientific approach are actually free from biases. Next principle is principle of creativity. Administrator and must encourage, of course, their team to be creative enough. To be creative. What is this creativity? This approach to initiate, to suggest something new, to devise, to invent, and of course, to produce something new. In other words, it is said that the name of the game today is actually creativity so far and innovation. This is the name of the game today, particularly in the 21st educational century landscape. In other words, administrators that should encourage every member of the organization, for example, the staff, to faculty members, and other middle level management to keep on producing something new. Because if we are not actually moving forward, if we are not actually advancing forward, we remain static. And today, in the 21st century landscape, status quo is actually moving backward. Status quo is moving backward. Okay. Next one is school administration is undeniably be evaluated in the light of their results. What is this result? Effectiveness of the administration actually defined by the outcome. First and foremost, pupils or students' growth. How are we going to measure growth? It is really quite very challenging and very hard, of course, to measure growth. But actually, in the case of our university, our pupils and students' growth are actually evaluated in terms of the results of examinations. From the very basic level, for example, the elementary level, we have the national achievement test. And so do with the secondary level. Senior high school, likewise, is being evaluated. Students are being evaluated, or growth are being evaluated in terms of the results of the national examinations and the results, of course, of the entrance examinations in college. Second is teachers' growth. How are we going to measure growth upon the faculty members? This is in terms of productivity output, their educational advancement, their sense of production, for example, in the university. Third is growth is also measured in terms of administrators and supervisors, growth in educational leadership. How are we going to measure the impact of administrators and supervisors? This is actually measured the impact of leaders in the community. If we can so far inspire and invite students to come, faculty members to apply to join the university family, we can therefore say that we have the growth so far because we have that impact to the community in terms of physical improvement and in terms, of course, of community advancement and improvement. Next, school administration and supervision must run parallel throughout the system. This means there is a need for a delegation of authority and responsibility. There are school leaders, administrators who actually refuse and unwilling to share authority and possibly, of course, carry all the burden and responsibilities. It's really quite hard to carry all the burden of responsibilities. For example, doing the very Herculean tasks from the program, student activities, from academic activities, from preparation of loads, and many more. In here, authority must be complemented with, or responsibility, of course, must be complemented with authority, and so that anyone who is actually authorized to command must have the responsibility, of course, for the team, to lead the team. In other words, there would be no authority without responsibility, and there would be no responsibility, of course, without authority. In other words, administrator must be willing to share the responsibility because they are to partake for the success and failure of the organization. Next one is, there's a need, of course, demarcation line. Although we cannot easily detach administration from supervision, but there is really a need to clearly define the administrative functions with that supervisory functions and supervisory activities, so that not to what do we call this one? Not to overlap, right? Overlapping of responsibility will actually result to organizational chaos, diba? Organizational chaos. So there is a need for a clear definition. Second, it is assumed that everybody business is no business at all, because we cannot actually put every responsibility in our own shoulder. Next one, school administration supervision must be preventive and constructive. Sending, for example, our faculty members and staff to trainings is a preventive measure. Developing and advancing our faculty members through studies is actually a preventive measure for a certain organization, of course, to prepare itself for possible outbreak of some chaos and issues that become impediment for our organization success. Likewise, forward-looking administrators highly in demand. This is for the sake of teachers' improvement. There is a need to have a forward-looking orientation for certain administrators. We need to forecast so far what will happen 3 to 5 years from now. Along the line, I think we need some kind of a metrics to forecast to bring the university into the future in order, of course, to meet the changing demands and the landscape of educational playing field. Next, the center of the administration supervision is actually in charge development. In other words, all of us, different departments, are directed towards one dimension, that is for child development. Every activity that we have, technology to function, of course, programs to be implemented, policies to be crafted, hereby are directed, of course, to development of our own learners and our own clients. Because university at that needs to be client-centered. It continuously responds to the demands and the market and to the demands, of course, of our own clients, it's no less than our students. Of course, by doing so, it must also prevent school failures, potential failures. Next principle is supervision must be flexible. It would mean must be adaptable to changing demands of time. Flexibility to changing educational demands for the emerging educational trends, for example, flexibility in approach in the classroom, flexibility in the use, of course, of materials. We need to prepare our university. That's why we need likewise to accumulate more materials and technology for university in order to keep pace with this dynamism and the educative process. School administration provision must ensure order. This is proper placement of material and non-material resources. The very important along the line is actually placing the right man in the right position. Because again, we can say that the life and death of the university is actually dependent on the effective functioning, of course, of the staff, of the faculty members, the school managers, the middle level managers, as well as the top management. So in so though there is a need, first and foremost, to place the right man in the right position. Most important principle, why all the departments are directed towards performing the same directions, hereby going into the same directions, which is fulfilling and achieving, of course, the university vision. For example, the finance department, academic department, the health department are directed towards one direction. So actually motivated by or towards the achievement of the university objectives and goals from the university vision. Third to the last is effective communication. This really very playing very important part in the administration and supervision. Some says that this is considered to be the life and death of the organization. Should you want that the organization should prosper, should cooperate, for example, you need to have an effective communication, and it is hereby inspired to have two-way process. So far, the downward flow and the upward flow feedback coming from the grassroots, so that what is happening around and what are the situation actually happening in the grounds. So it's highly encouraged to have a two-way process of communications, because it actually promotes cooperation and cooperative interplay among the members of the university family, for example. Then justice and equity, a very important principle. How it is being defined. Some said that there is a need for unequal treatments of unequal individuals. The definition in a higher level so far. Unequal treatment, because we're actually defining justice here in terms of equity, not in terms of equality, because every one of us is actually performing differently. Hereby, they must, of course, unequal treatment from the school administrator and supervisor. That's actually definition from the higher context. We need also just in dealing with the staff and the teachers, just and of course in the faculty promotion, just in dealing with compensation and rewards, just in of course dealing with academic loads. It's pretty core. This is actually teamwork. No organization can actually survive without cooperative interplay of among its members. I think no one will disagree on this principle. This is really very important. We need to work together hand in hand, cooperatively and collaboratively. Cooperatively, we mean is we're working together. We are working together agreeably, while collaboration, working together aggressively to achieve the university vision. So far, that will be all of my part. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Should you want to share some of the good practices, for example, school admission supervision in the context of your own university and colleges, we are now giving you the floor. Thank you very much. Try to take responsibility of responding to the questions.
Nice. Thank you very much. That was Director Dr. Norman A. Abdurrahman, the Director of Mindanao State University, Sulu High School Department, Sulu Senior High School Department. Is there any question? We proceed. Do we have any comments, our brothers and sisters? Sharings about school administration and supervision?
Hello. Hello, this is from India. Yeah, this is Sanjali from India.
Mhm.
Am I
You
clearly audible to
recognize?
you? Am I clearly audible to you?
Sir.
Sir, am I clearly audible to you?
Yes, Doc.
Yes, my question is, shall the administration sector take part in decision making and policy making of schools?
Come again, come again.
Can the administration sector take part in decision making and policy making of schools?
Decision making. Included in one faculty and staff for the decision making in school. Included in the faculty and
Both
staff
in
for the
decision making and policy making.
In the context, of course, of our diversity, faculty are actually considered in their decision making through the representation of the respective deans of the different departments through academic planning committee. Academic planning committee and the university campus is the highest policy making body as far as our university is concerned, and this is composed of the different heads of different deans, different directors of different departments. So, in other words, there is an indirect participation, of course, of our faculty members in the art of planning and the art of decision making so far.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madam. Any other question? No more? Shall we now proceed to the next presenter?
Yes, sir, you can proceed.
Okay, thank you so much. So, our next presenter is a faculty member of the graduate school and a faculty member also of the College of Nursing of Mindanao State University, Sulu, Sulu, Philippines, with academic rank of Assistant Professor 4. She will be presenting to us her topic about the importance of extension service in community involvement. Ladies and gentlemen, our brothers and sisters, we have Professor Ayesa P. Warid Sahiel.
Doc Shal. For a minute, Doc Shal, we are now in preparation of the presentation of the PowerPoint. So kindly please wait for a while.
Hi, good afternoon. Klaro na yung voice ko. Hi, good afternoon. A pleasant afternoon to everyone. I hope you could hear me. Ikaw, di ako kanungan. Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Peace to be upon you with God's mercy and blessings. This afternoon, I will be discussing a topic, importance of extension services and community involvement. I am Professor Ayesha Warid Sahiel. To begin with, the university is actually mandated to perform the three functions. These three functions are, number one is the teaching or the instruction, second, research and extension. Actually, a policy provides CHED memorandum order wherein we actually advise to perform our tasks along with our research and extension. Research and extension can only be, or community engagement can only be successful if there is an actual research and extension conducted. Through this, we could end up a community that is peaceful and a developed one. As I have mentioned, that Commission on Higher Education, or the CHED in the Philippines, HIDAR, has directed the higher educational institution to provide community-based educational and civic services. An example of this is the National Service Training Program, or the NSTP, Act of 2001, or also known the Republic Act of 9163, which emphasizes the commitment of the higher educational institution to deliver, promote, and sustain community service. This is actually similar to the U.S. National, which is the Community Service Act of 1990, and that furthermore, because of the recent events and also with the updates, the recent policy has been improved with the CHED Memorandum Order 52, series of 2016, wherein the Commission has recently begun its efforts to redirect the extension program, wherein the new extension policy asserts that the higher educational institutions are in the strategic position to work in collaboration with the communities, business, industry to facilitate the transfer of information or technology and specific developmental areas as producers of knowledge or innovation hub. This is according to Magnayan and Ilagan in 2001. This policy provides or has a provision of providing space to discover evidence-based practice or science-based practice in order to establish a real-life solution so that we could address the real-world challenges. Extension services or extension is one of the key drives of higher education that complements instruction and also the research. Through the research and technology transfer, there is a potential improvement in the curriculum wherein the students that is involved in the community service may able to develop citizenship as as a s- uh, as being patriotism that is not developed in a basic classroom or course of the class. But because of this extension, students and faculty will able to have a real life scenarios and real life solutions that would address the challenges. Partnership with the community should be beneficial both in the higher educational institution and also the community. And thus, it doesn't mean that we empower community, then we are less like to benefit from that. It should be a mutual benefit. For the reason that the purpose of extension is actually to refine the lives of those who are less fortunate. This is to improve the life of the community or the adapted societies. This aims to empower or to assist the poor in overcoming their obstacles so that they can be motivated to live a productive and self-sufficient life. That would mean that this we come and visit and establish a relation to the community in order for them to become empowered. We don't find a solution for them, but it's actually the community leaders who would pinpoint based on their decision making, who would be able to identify their solutions in order to address their common needs in the areas. We will live the community that we have adapted or established with being a self-sufficient or being able to have self-reliant. So that would mean that they would no longer depend on us as we move out of the extension hub, but then we can just collaborate with them again to further monitor or evaluate the program that we have established in the area, because we left them with the skills, with the leadership skills, we left them with and how to address their own problems. We made the community empowered. As also function of college or the state university and colleges, the internationalization. The platform that we are having right now is an exact example of what is internationalization. This is an avenue in doing through partnership and collaboration in research and extension. Students and faculty exchange programs, experience and immersion programs, to name a few. State universities and colleges must do research and generate knowledge. This is the thing that they, in order to provide evidence-based or evidence-based practice knowledge so that they could provide in the area in order to have a sustainable program or activities. Community engagement per se, it involves the process of forming a community based on a grassroots movement. This refers to individuals who band together to create a group and work together to a shared objectives that are to be engaged in their communities. The extension, according to Medina in 2019, it refers to the act of communicating, persuading, and helping specific sectors or target clienteles as distinguished from those enrolled in formal degree programs in course offerings to enable them to effectively improve production, community, and institution, and quality of life. An exact example of this are those individuals or group that are outside of the university who are not formally enrolled or do not have a collaboration with our university. So we could extend to their municipality, province, or specific barangays to provide an assistance for them to have a sustainable program. In doing so, state university and colleges extension service have priorities. These priorities will enable the institution or the industries and communities, particularly the depressed and underserved, to achieve sustainable development. These are done through community extension services, institutional and industry development program, and gender and development program. The community extension service is clustered into three. Number one is the capacity building training program. Number two is the community outreach program. And the number three is the high impact or the long-term integrated community-based development program. One by one, we will have an example of this on the following slides. When we say capability building training program, these are the agricultural, environmental training for farmers, for barangay officials. This includes livelihood and technical vocational skills training, continuing education for professionals in basic education, and information technology literacy training. This can be done in a 1 month or 2 weeks. It depends on what is the capacity program that you're going to offer or what is the need of the community. When we say community outreach program, these are food, nutrition, health, sanitation, maternal, child care, medical, dental, optical, mission, blood donation, clean and green community, coastal cleanup, tree planting, nursery, vegetable garden, establishment, relief goods operation, gift giving activity, youth, sports development, environmental camp, visit to orphanage, prison camps, rehabilitation centers, and legal advice, and also fundraising for community development. These activities can be done in a minimal time and also needs minimal operations and also staffing. So this can be done in a 1-day activity or so. The last one is the high impact or long-term development program. This refers to to adopt a barangay program, to adopt a school program, barangay integrated development approach in nutrition, and agro-industrial community-based technology center. It involves a longer period of time, minimum of six months to 2 years. In doing community extension services, we face different challenges more often than not. Then this is also very evident in a reality check that is, I think most of the faculty would agree that why is it there is a low motivation on faculty doing extension services. These are based on our research, these are the 4 reasons that came to rise. Number 1 is the low faculty motivation. Number 2 is the extension services is a second-rate endeavor to research. The third one is the multiple responsibilities in the IPCR targets. And last one is no or low budget for research and extension. Faculty members are having a low motivation because they feel unvalued this could be true based from the experiences of most faculty extensionists, that their programs, activities, and projects were given a very low point. That is why they don't have a factor of them to go on and pursue their endeavors. The second one is the extension service as a second-rate endeavor to research. There is a less rate or for extension compared to research. Sometimes considering a researcher more intelligent than an extensionist. Wherein a fact that's mentioned above, all extension service, the program, the activities, and should be a research based. The third reason is the multiple responsibility in the IPCR target. This is very true. As faculty, we are dealing with 18 units loads or sometimes 24 units of load. So with this, we are multitasking, and there are sometimes there are other units or loads that are given to us that we need to, especially if we are handling designation. So as a faculty member, there are major tasks. Our major task is to teach, and putting our foot or ourselves in outside of the university becomes very difficult in times of schedule. So that is why one of the reason why there is a low number of faculty members who are engaged in extension services. And the last one is the no or low budget for research and extension. In most cases, state universities and colleges allot a low budget for extensions. There were also cases extension that we wasn't able to use because there are no proposal made from the office. Then that it will be used to another purposes. So these are the four reasons why faculty members are not into depth in extension services. But we must also not deny the fact that in community engagement or in having a community extension services, this is actually a need for us in our accreditations. Research is also a major basis asked by accreditors whenever academic programs, particularly community involvement in extension services. Again and again, the community that we are going to visit, when we establish a program or a project with them, it should be a sustainable and effective community program. Okay. The following slides that I'm going to discuss is actually a paper made by Magnayan and Ilagan, wherein they have had research on regarding the effectiveness and impact of community extension program of their school. It is in the school or the university is Lyceum of the Philippines University. So this study focuses or aim to assess the effectiveness and impact of community extension program of one of the university and also the research study also aim to determine the level of effectiveness of community extension program and the impact of community extension program. So based from the findings, the effective community extension program, among other services, were only the livelihood and entrepreneurship. The other programs or the other extension program, such as environmental cleanup drive, planting tree, waste management, computer literacy, so on and so forth, were found to be less effective. Then, based on the respondents, they have assessed that the livelihood and the entrepreneurship program has the moderate impact on the lives of the beneficiaries. In the other programs that have been created by the school or by the university have less impact on the lives of the respondents in the community. Based from that finding, we could see that community is able to benefit from the community extension services that we are providing. In doing so, we also need to realize that for faculty members that are involved in community extension, they're also benefiting from it, not just in a mere of promotion or in the outreach that they are done in order for them to have a collaboration with the community, but nevertheless, it is somehow a holistic kindness that they feeling, the emotion that is brought by community extension service. Their actual benefit of being a volunteer or benefits of community services. Volunteerism and community involvement have been demonstrated to offer benefits both to communities and to the volunteer themselves. According to a research, this is from the American Journal Association of Pediatrics. There was a research on 106 grade 10 students. They were asked to volunteer their time for 60 to 90 minutes a day after the school program. After 10 weeks, it was found out that the students who volunteered have risk of cardiovascular diseases. They have low cholesterol level and have a body mass index. So being a volunteer or being involved in community extension services does not only in a pen and paper but it becomes holistic, wherein the benefit that you will be having is having that fulfillment. And another study conducted by United Health Group research findings, community service yield emotional benefits. Accordingly, 76% of those who volunteered are happy or more nagiging happier. Then 78% have reduces stress. Then 90% have helped them improve their mood. Okay. I think that would be the end of my presentation. The following slides will be the references. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Ayesha P. Warid Sahyal, one of our faculty of the graduate school and at the same time faculty of the College of Nursing, Mindanao State University, Sulu. If you have some questions and clarifications, and as far as the topic of Professor Sahyal is concerned, you may now raise your hand. Is there any queries, comments, or sharings?
For distinct professors who are in attendance this afternoon, you may now have your questions or if you have any queries regarding the topic of Dr. Ayesha Warid Sahial, you can now have your question or query. Doc Shai, are you around?
Yes, yes, Dr. Aniza, I'm here.
So I think there are no more questions.
Since there will be no questions or queries, I would like to give the synopsis of our afternoon's forum lecture. So, Professor Ayesa Warid Sahial explained or presented to us about the importance of extension service and community involvement, where she emphasized that extension is one of the key drives of higher education that complements instruction and research, wherein the aim of the community extension program is to assist the poor or to empower in overcoming their obstacles so that they can be motivated to live a productive and self-supplement. She also shared community engagement like extension or activities, long-term integrated community-based development. The first presenter, we have Dr. Norman A. Abdurrahman, the director of Mindanao State University Senior High School Department, Holosolo, Philippines. He presented about school administration and supervision. He shared administrative function as well as supervisions supplement, particularly Mindanao State University Sulu as his example. He also shared that school administration represents the whole of the educational system. School administration and supervision must be democratic for every faculty member, and staff must be given individual freedom for maximum participation. We should recognize individual differences, respect personality, and extend personal consideration. Gives individual freedom for development. He also emphasized that school administration and supervision must be cooperative. School administration and supervision must be scientific. School administration must be evaluated in the light of the results in terms of students' growth, teachers' growth, administrators, and supervisors' growth in educational leadership, both physical improvement as well as the community improvement. School administration and supervision must run parallel throughout the system. And school administration and supervision must be preventive and constructive. That would be, I guess, anything that you would like to say, Dr. Magna Anisa Hayudini, the Director of Internationalization of Mindanao State University, Sulu, Holosolo, Philippines, before we end our forum lecture this afternoon?
You, our international moderator, Dr. Abdullah Muhammad, for facilitating this afternoon activity. So I think may I request everyone in the attendance to please open your cam so that we can have our photo opportunity.
Can we ask everyone to please open your cam so that we can have a photo opportunity? Doc Shal, can you please assist with us?
Yes, you can. You can. Wait.
Okay, shall we start now with the clicking of the camera? Everyone, are you with us? Ready na lang ata. Oh, smoke na lang kami. Okay. So, kamila pa kami. Na lang pala.
Record, Tita Sha.
Okay.
Dito. Dok, subay ka.
Thank you so much. That would be the end of our lecture forum for this afternoon. For in behalf of our chancellor, Dr. Nadir J. Abdurrahman, the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, who is also the officer in charge of our campus, the State University, Sulu, Honolulu, Philippines, Dr. Rafael Ewehaliana, the presenter this afternoon, Dr. Norman E. Abdurrahman, Director of Mindanao State University, Sulu Senior High School Department, and Professor Yesa P. Warid Sakyang, one of the faculty of the graduate school, and faculty also of the College of Nursing, Dr. Magna Alisa, the graduate school, at the same time, Director of Digitalization, Dr. Fermina Omar, the advisor of Hangadula, as well as the Hangadula who are around this afternoon, Professor Kamana Elam, Professor Mary Joy Busaglia, Professor Sakiran, and our brothers and sisters who are in attendance. That would be the end of our lecture for this afternoon. Thank you so much. I am Professor Abdullah Muhammad, the moderator for this afternoon day one activity.
Okay, thank you everyone. That concludes our international presentation and lecture this afternoon. I hope that you will also participate in the coming days, same time, and of course in 5-day presentation. So with this, we also would like to thank Dr. Salja and also the President of CAPE Corintias, Dr. Silvestre, for allowing us to be part of this activity. Thank you very much and good day to everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Meghna ma'am. And it's a great honor for all of us. And today's session, both sessions were very informative and we learned a lot from that sessions. Thank you very much and many, many congratulations to all.
Okay, thank you and more power and blessings to everyone.